Additionally, these spaces are not suitable to secure fast and secure.
These might be our last moments of freedom.
Ladies and gentlemen, and all of our frequent flyers, we have just landed.
新疆治安是全国最好的地方，不要听别人瞎说。对。
为什么有这么多警察？
就是为了维持社会稳定啊，为了招坏人。
We're in Xinjiang, a place unlike anywhere on Earth. It's home to the Uighurs, a mostly Muslim minority who've lived here for centuries. Xinjiang has long been a pressure point where China's ethnic tensions have played out. But in the last decade, a handful of violent incidents have disturbed the region.
It's been 3 days since bloody riots broke out, pitting ethnic Uighur Muslims against the dominant Han Chinese.
China blames this unrest on Islamic extremism and ethnic separatism. Their response? To detain over 1 million people in massive new facilities, where they're taken for so-called re-education. The government has presented these as joyful training schools, where they're correcting extremist behaviour. But the US Defense Department has called them concentration camps. In an effort to clamp down on information leaking out of the region, journalists have been prevented from reporting freely here. So my colleague and I travelled to Xinjiang as travel bloggers in the hopes we'd slip under the radar and get to speak with Uyghur people still living here. We snuck in with hidden cameras. Most of what we captured was filmed secretly.
Yeah. Just walking down the street, there's so many different groups of police walking along with their body armour and their shields and some pretty serious equipment.
I think I'm going to have to be careful now.
There are checkpoints every few hundred yards. Even entering this small bazaar, your bags go through airport-type security and your bodies and faces are scanned. It's Uyghurs who are stopped, and so far, everyone we've met seems to think I'm Uighur. Uyghur people look different to the Han Chinese, who make up over 90% of China's population. Instead, Uyghurs are ethnically Turkic Muslims with close ties to Central Asia. The world's most sophisticated surveillance technology is being implemented here with meticulous diligence. Among the hundreds of flashing lights suspended from the ceiling are rows of surveillance cameras, literally every 2 meters. I counted at least 40 just in a small room, watching over every conversation.
We are at the Urumqi train station, about to try and get out of the city. And we've decided to travel in the build-up to Chinese New Year because we figured it would help with this cunning disguise of ours. And in part because we heard that security should be a little bit more lax travelling around the region. But it does also mean that there's about 1 million people trying to get on a train.
We heard that outside the main city, Uyghurs are essentially living in open prisons, in places where surveillance is even tighter. So we took a 17-hour train ride to the ancient city of Kashgar to find out if that rang true. We splurged on a sleeper cabin, which we wound up sharing with this friendly Han Chinese woman.
你觉得这个维吾尔人怎么样的人？
我是种地的嘛，又不给他们集中，一带了对种地都是汉族在一块。
因为我听说，最近那边的传统的文化是消除的。
对，少数民族跟汉族要一样，吃啥都一样。
为什么？
就是说团结一样嘛，三同，就是说同吃同住同劳动。他闹得厉害的，闹得厉害的很的是，国家不控制也不行。
为什么？
新疆是他们国家呀，他们要干啥呀？
我听说很多维吾尔人要送去那个在教语言的一个地方。
哦，你听说了啊？你去了解嘛？我这个也说不清。我们国家政策啥子我们也不能乱说。
你觉得对维吾尔人的来说有点可惜吗？
不可惜，他啥可惜呢？他们维族人的，他们那种还是落后些。
I spent the journey walking up and down the train and hanging out between the carriages and smoking endless packs of Chinese cigarettes in hopes of striking up conversations. On several of my cigarette missions, I walked past a young Uyghur man. He kept catching my eye. When everyone had gone to sleep and the carriages fell silent, he stopped me. We've disguised his voice for his own protection.
现在维吾尔人的生活怎么样？为什么？而且我听说，
信是没知道不知道？本性的改多。新疆，维族人本性的很多，说了事儿嘛，不好说，真不好说。
为什么？是有点危险。
危险。
在哪个？怎么说？在教育。是什么样的？
那啥，反恐的培训中心，本性的那地方嘛，监狱。
是今天的。
不是，主要类似警察，主要类似有个都是别人，包括只能说就是原来说的爱心。
We arrived in Kashgar. Surveillance cameras were everywhere.
What day is it today?
Wednesday.
100,000 new police officers have been hired across the region from 2016 to 2017 alone, and it shows.
Just watching these guys making their meat dumplings in their kitchen, and also noting that the axe on the ground here that they need to chop up the wood has been chained to the ground, as is regulation across the region.
A lot of the officers who man the thousands of checkpoints are Uyghurs themselves. Wandering around the city, barely any Uyghur would look at me or even say hello. Anyone could be an informant. So I have to film this street so that it's not so obvious that what I'm actually trying to film is the guys behind me, but are having some insane security drill. Twice a day in Kashgar, shopkeepers, street cleaners and delivery people take part in security drills. The camera woman is just getting stuck with that footage. They're making her delete it with
他们干嘛？
你们是一起的吗？
一起的。我们刚才已经都删掉了，就是。
你这没有分车站吗？
没有。
谢谢你。
谢谢。
We got off easy this time. The police let us go after deleting our footage. But knowing we're now being watched, we didn't want to push it. So we looked around for the most conspicuous tourist activity we could find.
Oh my God, what is happening? Should make sure that we're seen. This feels very wrong. I'm just walking around the cultural heart of Kashgar city with a guy in his camel throwing peace signs at the camera.
We were desperate to talk to the locals, to understand how this once vibrant city had become so ghostly. So we hit the town and wound up in a dreary bar. Between songs, we struck up a conversation with a couple of Han Chinese guys who grew up here.
但是对于我们来说，我们在这生活很开心，然后没有看到什么那种恐怖社会主义的事情。
你从来没有看到？
哦，对，我从来没有看到过，因为我在这儿待的时间比较长，还是在这个喀什噶尔。
你们有没有记者证件？
没有，我们不是记者，我们就是刚才是博客，一个小博客，我们是旅游的博客。
做一个小的采访。
关于个人经过批准，他是不能接受。
这个我们不是不太了解。
在新疆，
这个我们作为本地人来说，时间在这边比较长，而且从长大了，而且比较热衷于宣传自己的家乡。所以说
宣传嘛，不用那个真的，你这样大众
这个你放心，
知道。等会还有人过来呢，不用吧？
你证件出来，我看。我们就是我们一个旅游的。
别说话，好不好？啊，你先听我说，他们只是博客。
你先别说话，好不好？
小听点。
好，我给你打电话，你接一下啊。好的。
有点害怕。
等一下啊。知道你们两个吗？等一下。
Over the next hour and a half, one after another police arrived. The most senior officer spoke English with a crisp British accent and deleted a bunch of our footage. We insisted over and over that we were just tourists, not journalists. He seemed to believe our story. Then finally, he let us leave. It was 12:30 a.m. when we walked back to the hotel. The streets were dead. Then we saw movement. So we're just watching as a bunch of policemen are marching 8 Uighur men, young men, all the way down the street to the police station. We've just watched them for the last 4 minutes or so march in complete dead silence. It's really, really fucking chilling.
由于航班延误影响了您的行程，我们深表歉意。全体机组成员。
So I'm back on a plane again. Unfortunately, having to leave Kashgar a lot sooner than I had liked. We've heard from sources that the local security personnel suspect that we're journalists, and at this point, it's just impossible to stay without putting every person we come in contact with at serious risk by association.
Only a few Uyghurs who've been detained have managed to escape the country in the last few years. In Istanbul, we joined a rare gathering between a group of former detainees to talk about their experiences together for the first time. They answered the questions we couldn't ask while we were in China.
Bu pasport birleşinin şartı DNA'nı bir şey oluyor otelde. Aman. Hem böyle diyenini verdik, yine bir avazımın aldı. İşki var kat okutup avazımın edip bari pasport vergen sonra.
Benim tutkandaşta kaldı, benim her kolumni maşta kıptırıp aldı. Mayak kala burnumның şekilleri hem yerimni aldı. Ki onun da keyin südükni tekşirdi. Eğer iğrayık bolsa eşaqlı balsın evetip aşaq akırdı kamerada mening da emdi.
Mening singlimning uyiga qo'shmaq tuqqan deb Xitoydan o'rnashtirilgan. Xitoyning o'zining aniq ma'lumotida 1.200.000 insonni Uighur qozoqlarning uylariga yerlashtirildi deb. Shu sababdan nomusga chidamagan ayollarimiz nechisi o'lib olganlar bor.
All you guys spent time in the camps. I mean, what was your crime? What were you each taken in for?
Kur'an okugandım hem Arap tili öğrengendim. Aşının için devlet parçalaşıp olanğan deb qo'llangan.
Ana til geslesi açımen deb şunun bilan şu sebepten qolib qo'ydim. Men 15 oy to'dimning ichida.
Menga bo'ynimga ilishga majburlagan jinoyatlari davlatni parchalash, terrorchilarni tashkillash, terrorchilarni qanot ostiga ilish degan mashina eng og'ir jinoyatlarni bo'ynimga ilishga majburladi.
Mana terrorist degan manda xat berdi. Gulbahar Jalil terrorist.
So this is from the state security? Have you been involved in terrorism?
Men buğa üçün Uighur buğa üçün aşta qildi. Kişende putumdi kişem bilen 1 yıl 3 ay 10 gün çıqqıça men aş kişem bilen putumdi kişem bilen şudum 5 kiloluk kişen.
What were the similarities in terms of actually being taken to these camps?
Asasen bunda dastlabda kecha tutuldi bular. Bunun maqsadi kechada operasiyonning maqsadi shu insonlarning izdiresiz g'oyib bo'lganda topolmasligi uchun.
Her birimizin birden açıkıp surak qilishimiz. Öyle yandık öyle çiğqirgan avaz çıketdi, tayaqning ovozi.
Tamaq kelgacha eng az 3 qatim naqsh etishga majbur bo'lamiz. Meiyo Gongchandang ju meiyo Xinjiang Gongchandang ta Qinlao Wei Minzu. Men shuni aytmayman deb 5 yil jazoga uchirgan xonim Elizabet xonim. Yo'lbos o'rindiqqa bog'lanib, qo'l kishilar mashina ustida so'zini ko'rsatib qo'yaman. Qarang zindanni ularga so'ron qilgan insonlar shu holatda chunki men shu suhbatda so'zlamaganligim uchun, choshqishni yemaganligim uchun, qoidasini bo'ysunmaganligim uchun qarshi qilding deganni qilib, mana shu 1 oy yotqizgan qarang zindanda meni. Kommunizm sistemasidagi robot insonlarni kurashtirish, tilingni, madaniyatingni hamma narsani oshlarning bosgan qilipiga tushagan holatda kommunizmcha sotsializmda yashashga sizni majburlash.
In 2016, Kelbanor was 7 months pregnant when she left Xinjiang with her husband and 2-year-old son Mohammed.
Ballarım qo'y aydım hemmimizga becerip meningki chiqdi, Muhammadning chiqdi, yo'ldashimninki, shu 3 oylarninki burun chiqdi, qolgan 5 balamninkini chiqarib bermadi. Qizimninki dunyoga hayot tug'ilishni, meni Xitoyning qo'lida o'lib ketmasligini ensirib, yenib kelgan ballarimdan ayrilib.
What was your plan for being reunited with your family when you left Xinjiang?
Bize yo'ldashim meni akab qo'yib ketib, ben shu balaning pasporti chiqqan aman balani elib yenib keldigan plan tuzib kelgandik. Chiqib kelsa 15-20 kunning ichida balarim bilan yuz ko'rishman deb chiqqan, lekin amaliyotda unda bo'lmadi.
Mersiya chiroyli bo'ldi.
Kelbanor's husband was detained after he returned to Xinjiang. He's now serving a 10-year sentence for travelling overseas and suspected terrorism, leaving 5 of her young children without their parents. What do you think happened to your kids?
Shu qizimning videosini chiqqan qadar men bir qizimni hamda Xotandagi bir tarbiyalash, ya'ni balla tarbiyalash lagerdan tatilgan videoni ko'rgandan keyin men balarimni boshqa shaharlarga yo'tkib yana
This is her here.
Sure. Men birinchi qatim ko'riblam tuni oldim.
So you think this might have been taken inside an orphanage?
Atanız çeteldi bo'lib qolgan, atanız yendi yo'q bolalarni hamda ig'ichaqsiz deb o'zininki tarbiyalash lagerlariga eketkenlik haberlerini anlattı. Benim ballarıma aşağıda buluş mümkün.
Ya Allah.
Do you have any other information at all about your children?
Yakmışı biz kanlardan haber yok. Meniki üzeriminki açamның numurlarım telefon qıp baktım, lekin telefon taqaq. Chet ellerle alaqa qilganlarını 5 yıl, 7-8 yıldan kesip etkenlik haberini anlatımız. Aşu sebepten meniki uruq tuqqanlarımni ekirip ketken buluş mümkün. Chet ellerle alaqa qilding deb. Bir qatim balalarım bilan qaranlış burası çıkıp qalsa men şunu deyman. Men sizlardan bir gün arlyk qalamayman. Men hergizmi balalarımni taşıp etmeyman.
We wanted to know whether the rumours of kids being sent to state-run institutions were true. We found the original video of Kelbanor's daughter from social media. The user had uploaded other videos that also looked like schools. We tracked those locations to kindergartens in Hotan, a city nearly 300 miles from Kelbanor's hometown. We delved into Hotan Prefecture's government records, which show that in 2017 alone, the number of kindergartens more than doubled. This was at the same time that China began sending hundreds of thousands of Uyghur adults to the camps. We identified several more compounds in Hotan, all built around the same time and with the same distinctive features. Large walled-off complexes with colourful turrets and brightly painted patterns on the ground. We wanted to head back to Xinjiang to investigate. Knowing we were already on the government's radar, the risks were higher.
你好，我们去花域酒店。
有可能是看你相对为主吧。
This time round, security felt even tighter.
为什么需要我们这个？手机号还是那个哪个地方来哪个地方去？你现在去看店吗？可真是。对对对，谢谢。
现在生意不好做，新疆太严得很，全部人抓起来了，一个人啊，但是包工的抓起来了，那个一滴的事情的全抓起来了。
对，他们和田人很多，和田人去培训吗？
基本上都去了，
基本上都去了。
不是维族人，大部分都是维族人。
那孩子去培训的孩子们，那谁照顾他们？
幼儿园像
他们住在那边
啊，照顾他们。
From what this Han Chinese businessman told us, it seemed like common knowledge that the government was taking children of detainees in, as if they were orphans. Mapping out the GPS coordinates we had, we set out to find the locations we identified as possible orphanages. So we're just walking down this really pretty street in Hotan, and kind of similar vibes to Kashgar. I mean, the streets are abandoned, a lot of padlocked houses. Seems like a lot of people have disappeared.
Yeah, walk like this way.
It's interesting, just in this small neighbourhood, we passed 3 mosques. Even though we're actually here during the month of Ramadan, you can't hear a single call to prayer. Yeah, did you see him in the black? Just coming up to the first building that our GPS coordinates have brought us to. There are kids. We wait until the end of the day, hoping to see kids being picked up by parents, but no one entered or exited the premises. Sensing we were being watched, we spread out our search for the remaining few buildings over the following few days. We're trying to get a little closer to the school, but there's this massive brick wall with barbed wire fencing all around it, which is making it really, really difficult to get to. I mean, it's obvious what we're doing here. We should just get out of this area quickly. You can see kids in there. So the best we can do is walk past this facility, but it is really bizarre that there are kids there on a Sunday, which suggests that this is not just a regular school. I think it's that way. Trying to get to another one of these buildings, and it's through there and it's locked. There we go, there it is. I can see people moving inside.
有卫生间啊，可以借我们用一下吗？啊，不让进是吧？啊，这是学校是吧？啊，幼儿园。
Just walked the entirety of the city.
你们是两位？
我们是旅游的。
旅游的。
旅游的。
This place is driving us insane.
我们这主要这些演员都不能拍照。
好。
像周边你们都可以拍一拍。好。跟都拍。
We've just been sat here for 2 minutes, and the police have now come over to us twice to check our footage and our passports.
Here we go again. 台湾的吗？不是台湾的，美国的。美国吗？
Escaping the Chinese government's eyes just seems so hard. It's a very effective mechanism that the government has in place here to prevent any information from getting out. It wasn't just the police in uniforms. We were also being followed by this white car and this gold car, often by up to 6 plainclothed police officers, and 24/7, we always had one man in particular. Subtle as he was, we spotted him stalking us wherever we went. This is all just getting slightly ridiculous now. I'm going to ask this guy what his game is. 你好，朋友。你好。你好。你为什么一直跟着我们？你为什么一直跟着我们？ I know you're not on the phone. 你不在电话。Oh. 你好。This is literally the first time you've walked away from me. You've always been following me. 这是第一次你走这样的话。It's very strange behavior. 我觉得有一点奇怪，因为我们每天看到你，真的很麻烦。为什么？你不想让我们？ 看什么事情 Total denial. Our friend continued to follow us at a distance, making it difficult to talk to people. But on a nearby street, one young Uighur girl did speak. For her own protection, we've hidden her face.
你的中文很好。我的学习很好，我是班长。哦，你是班长啊？是。
我听说最近很多人去培训，对吗？
对，我的姐姐培训去。
你的姐姐？
是。
她去了多长时间了
？2年。
在你的学校有很多孩子有父母在培训吗？
是。我们班的13个同学住宿生，他的爸爸妈妈去培训了。
Along another road, in another abandoned village, yet another multicolored castle appeared. There was a lot of kids. There's no doubt that inside Xinjiang and in these schools, a massive social engineering program is underway. The Chinese government's goals are clear: for this next generation of Uyghurs to not be Uyghurs, to break all links to their culture, their religion, even their families, until the only identity they have left is Chinese. On one of our last days in Xinjiang, we passed an elementary school full of Uighur children. Before anyone could stop us, we caught a fleeting glimpse of how the Chinese government wants them to think. But it was just a fleeting glimpse.